Natasha, and if you are here, you are most likely a Capricorn rising, or you know someone who has Capricorn rising and you want to get some information about this kind of archetype. So the rising sign basically represents who you are. It represents the first house, and you get your rising sign by knowing the location, but mainly the time you were born. So when you came out of the womb is when the sun was rising from that area of the world that you were born in. So by knowing that, you kind of know where the dial is in the birth chart wheel. I use Western astrology of where all the 12 zodiac signs are still in order. It's just they're shifted out of place from what their natural rulership is. So if you have a Capricorn rising, your rising sign for everyone is kind of like this mask that you put on when you interact one-on-one with other people. It can also be how you learn to survive in the environment that you grew up in, because you kind of just naturally take on some sort of direction. But at the same time, the birth chart was created right when you came out of the womb, before all of this energy and interactions took place. That's why I find astrology so fascinating. So you come off as this very stoic, emotionally stable, mature, grounded earth sign. Also someone who has a lot of ambition, and you kind of quietly climb your way up to the top. Or you also, because Capricorn is kind of that slow build, regardless of hardship and setback and emotional pain. Capricorn sometimes feel kind of a Capricorn sun sign. I'm a Libra rising, but you know, knowing this energy, Capricorns kind of go through a lot, you know, and it's just a part of life. And so over time, they can learn basically to be just more reserved, in control of their deep emotions, even though it's freaking killing them on the inside. On the outside, they can come off as very stoic and in control of their emotions, because that's just the way it is, you know. It's normal for them, and in comparison to everybody else, when they might hear stories of other people's sad life and such, it's like, that's it. That's all you got? Like, that's nothing. So, you know, it's hard to really shake a Capricorn energy after so long. You know, that the more, you know, like the more they've been through, like this can go for anyone. The more someone has really gone through like real hardship, it's like something that would make someone else cry, it doesn't make them cry because they've been through worse, you know. So that is this kind of energy. And especially, we just went through 15 years of Pluto in your rising sign. So Pluto transiting your first house of yourself, because the first house represents yourself, your personality, your physical body, who you are as a person. And Pluto transiting slowly through your house of self, a lot of things that are no longer working were kind of brought to the surface. It is very uncomfortable. It's very like Plutonian energy is like Scorpio. Deep, dark secrets, things subconscious, psychological, is kind of coming up, you know, like oil sitting on top of water for you to face it now, about yourself, and now you have to deal with it. Or things that you want to suppress, deep, dark, uncomfortable feelings that you want to suppress so bad because you just need to move on with life. You have things to get done. You have this burden just lingering within you. It's kind of like wanting to come out, you know, for you to overcome it, rise like a phoenix, change and transform for the better. So that is kind of in a nutshell, Capricorn. Capricorn sitting in your first house, you can be someone who really pushes through with a lot of dedication, perseverance, resiliency, hardship, setbacks, whatever, and you'll push through things that might relate to your actual personality or your physical body. You'll push through and work towards whatever goal. So you can work on, like, if you're in martial arts, or you're a ballerina, or you know, whatever it is, you will do the hard grunt work regardless of the discomfort or whatever. You will kind of push through to the top, you know. So that's kind of the energy relating Capricorn and the self, the physical body. Or if you were mentally in a very dark place and you didn't know a lot, you're someone who persevered and pushed through all kinds of mental hardship in order to come to the other side of that, for example. And then your first house ruler of Capricorn is Saturn. So you have to look at what zodiac sign and house Saturn is placed for you to kind of get an idea of how you are kind of being pulled towards. It's just the energy of how that is kind of directing you and your life choices. Is going to be somehow related to this Saturn energy, regardless of where that is in your, what zodiac sign that is in, and what house it is playing out. That's going to somehow interact with you. I like to explain or go through personal houses with all of these ascendant signs. So your personal houses, I consider your first house, which is your rising house, your rising sign. Your fourth house, which naturally rules your childhood upbringing and your home and family. Your seventh house, your one-on-one personal relationships and contracts. Typically it represents marriage, but it doesn't have to. And then your 10th house of your career and public image. Those are your four. Kind of, it comes to a little kind of diamond like shape, square, of who you are in your personal relationships, like that. So your fourth house, most likely, unless you have what's called a duplication or interception, which a duplication in a natal chart is when one zodiac sign is ruling two houses instead of one zodiac sign ruling one house as it normally would rule, regardless if it's in its actual house of rulership or not. If it's in its actual house of rulership, you would be an Aries rising, and you would have one zodiac sign ruling the house that it originally rules. But most people do not have that. So if you do not have any duplications or interceptions in your chart, sometimes triplications, I don't even know the actual word for it, but I've seen it, and they're more rare, but they have unique personalities, and I can see why. But most likely you have Aries in your fourth house of home and family upbringing. So you may notice that your childhood, there was somehow a lot of fighting in some way, whether that's with your parents or your siblings, or some kind of quick, impulsive kind of little fights happening all the time. There might be like one-sidedness in some shape or form, whether that was you doing it or a sibling or parent or someone in the household kind of being one-sided, or it had to be their way, and they would throw a fit or something if they didn't get their way, and so you had to somehow suck it up and back down. Or maybe you were the older child, so you have to think of if you're siblings to a multitude of siblings, what order are you in that line of children? You know, that kind of takes on a role, as well as male and female, and what your family traditions are if you came from a different culture, you know, and your upbringing, cultural beliefs. So you have to think of all of these things, how it plays out for you. But Aries, in your home and family, there was something like there was war going on at home, whether this war looked really obvious and bad, or is more subtle and it seems kind of normal, but you're feeling that, you know, there's something that like you're always having to bicker or fight, or it's not like as pleasant that you wish that you got, you know. There's this kind of one-sidedness, fighting, bickering, impulsiveness, very fast moving energy towards it, or there's always activities possibly going on, because Aries is always on to the next thing, or you might have a mother or father who always kept you really busy, or you're always on the go. We always need to go here, there. So it's always passionate, fiery. We need to move, we need to move, we need to do this, we need to do that. So very quick, and it could be one-sided, whether you grew up that way or later on in your adult life. Now it's becoming that one side or the other. You may find that maybe you have become one-sided because in your childhood you always had to give in to family, siblings, or whatever, and you didn't get that selfishness that you needed a piece of. You overgave, and now in your romantic relationships outside of your childhood upbringing, you might come off as very stubborn and one-sided, and kind of you start little fights because you've been conditioned in this way, or you know, like it wasn't fair and balanced, because it's the opposite of Aries. You didn't get fair and balance in your home and childhood upbringing growing up, and so now, you know, to balance it out, you want to be selfish, you know. So be aware of that if that is playing out in your relationships as a adult. That is something within yourself that you have to heal. Your 7th house is naturally ruled by Libra, but for you as a Capricorn rising, it is most likely ruled by Cancer, unless you have that duplication, interception thing going on for you. Excuse me. Cancer being in the 7th house for you, you may feel like you are drawn to, you click with, or you naturally get along with people who have this kind of Cancer archetype to them, whether they're literally a Cancer sun sign, rising sign, whatever sign, or they just embody this nurturing mother, like they want to cater to your emotions, or they feel deeply about things, or maybe they're very emotionally unstable, because Cancer is normally represented by the moon, and the moon changes every 2 to 3 days. So it always goes through, it's going through every zodiac sign every 2 to 3 days. And so it's going through the different moods and archetypes of all the 12 signs. So it's always kind of changing. It's like waves. So you may find that you are drawn to or attracted to people who are very emotional and have emotional waves, because you come off as very stoic and stable, you know. So you know, even though we have all 12 zodiac signs within ourselves, you have this Cancer energy within you, but it being in the opposite sign of you, because Cancer is the opposite of Capricorn. And if you are a Capricorn rising, in order to feel balanced, you might be drawn to this energy that you feel like you have a hard time connecting with, even though you have that within you. You need to be around people who can kind of draw that out of you if you don't have a lot of personal planets in that sign or area of your chart to help. You might need to be, or you're drawn to people who have this energy in order to learn kind of like how are they like that? How can they be so emotional? Or how to get reconnected with your emotions. You need to be with people who are emotional, because you've kind of disconnected yourself so far beyond being emotional that you don't know how to be emotional, because you're so stoic, you know. So it's kind of like the opposites attract in a way. So you might be drawn to people who seem very family oriented, nurturing, caring, have emotional intelligence in some way. So yes, that is a thing for that. Your 10th house is normally your career house or your public image. And so, like I discussed a little bit before, it is the opposite of your 4th house. So your 4th house is childhood, upbringing, and like your foundation of how you grew up. And sometimes, or most of the time, we didn't really get everything that we wished in a family or home. And so what we seek out in career is what we did not get in home and family growing up. So your public persona and public image and something that you do with your career comes off as very Libran in some way. And Libra is ruled by Venus. So Venus, or Libra, is about the scales. It's fair and balanced. People will see you as very fair and balanced, or like a judge, or very cordial, harmonious, maybe people pleasing, or you self-sacrifice yourself for others because you want to be seen in a good light. You're very diplomatic. You're a harmonizer, so you can help groups who are going through a lot of chaos or discomfort, wars and stuff, and harmonize them because you grew up in a warlike upbringing, or bickering, fighting, even if that looks like okay, normal. You comprehend that energy. You comprehend Aries energy, fast, quick, impulsive, passionate, one-sided, me, or either that's you or whoever you're encountering with. It's always them all the time, you know, and you understand that, or how it feels. And so now you publicly display yourself as this, like, I understand what that feels like, and I don't want to present that to other people. I'm very fair and balanced to the world. Libra is very pleasant, harmonious. They care about how people perceive them. So that might be a thing for you, regardless of what's actually going on inside or at home or in your relationships. You're going to present yourself as fair, balanced, like you're the good guy. You know, you understand both sides, regardless of what is actually going on. I like to also discuss the 12th house a little bit, because that kind of gets a peek of kind of your subconscious mind state, or where you go off when you're in isolation and dream and fantasize about things, because the 12th house is normally Pisces, or our dreams, our aspirations, where we kind of escape to seek solitude, meditation, find peace, because you're kind of alone all by yourself in your mind. So your 12th house most likely would be in Sagittarius. So your mind might be always on some kind of new passionate endeavor. It's a fire mutable energy. What can you learn? It's a very optimistic and expansive. You can be thinking of what is like the next big thing to learn from or grow from or be passionate about. Sagittarius is kind of known to be a little bit flighty. So they're into one thing, they experience for a while, and then they go off to the new thing. You know, think of foreign travel. So you might want to escape to a foreign land or go traveling a lot. So international travel, maybe international language, being passionate about a new venture. And if you're not passionate about it, you go find a new one. So you might have your brain on this kind of thing, like what is the next passionate centaur arrow of like, you're it, you know, and I'm going to seek you out because I'm in love with you. And it's exciting to chase, and then once the chase gets boring, you're going to drop it and leave it. Maybe. So if that is you, apply it. If not, then perhaps it's more like on an educational, traveling type sense. So you have to think of what your personal choices are, where you are in life, or are you in your teens, 20s, 30s, 50s, 70s, you know, it's going to change over time. So that's kind of the energy of your mind, even though it's kind of hidden, because it's subconscious mind. The other areas of your chart, most likely your second house is going to be Aquarian. So your second house normally rules your personal finance, your personal things that you own, the material things that you own, and your self-worth, self-esteem. So Aquarius energy is friendship, networking, and technology. So you might use friendships and networking in order to help you gain a sense of self-worth and self-esteem, a sense of community, of like you have a group, a brotherhood, sisterhood, in order to help make you feel like you have something to fight for, or self-worth, self-value, that you are part of something bigger, because Aquarius is also part of that kind of big area in life, that half of the zodiac, kind of, you can think literally half of the zodiac, Libra through Pisces, is kind of more out in the ethers, and the 1 through 6 signs are more grounded on earth, to kind of help with that mindset. So Aquarius energy is like groups of people learning a little bit from other people in order to help raise and build your finances, your self-worth, self-esteem, and the things that you have. You rely on your networks to feel good. Your third house most likely is ruled by Pisces. So you may find that your siblings or your cousins or the people in your small community, wherever you typically hang out, you can think of it as your church or whatever religious group that you associate with. That is a small group. If you go to a local gym, the same gym all the time, the people that you tend to see on a regular basis, that is a small community. If you are still in grade school, you go to school, you are stuck in a class for a whole year, and you don't yet change classes all the time. But those are your small groups of people in community. You tend to attract people who have this Pisces energy. So they're either very spiritual or martyr-like. They're self-sacrificing. They go with the flow. They're very intuitive. On a negative side, you may find that you are surrounded by people who are kind of covertly manipulative. They're trying to kind of woo your emotions or get to your emotions in order to get something out of you for their own gain, because they're very intuitive. And sometimes people who live in fear or they're not healed, they need to take in order to fill their own cup, because they don't know how to fill their own cup of self-love and self-esteem. So you might encounter people who are kind of deceptive, or they lack boundaries. They kind of blur. They try to maybe use you in some way or make you feel bad about what their situation is, because it could be like victimhood, or like, woe is me, I'm going through such a hard time. And they have addictions. Pisces is one of the addiction signs, even though any sign can be like that, but they want to escape from their hard reality because they want to live in their dreams, possibly, and they have a hard time making their dreams a reality, and things are not going their way or the way that they thought, because they are the opposite of Virgo, of like diligent hard work, of detailed planning in order to progress to something. And so when you have this blurry, unorganized plethora of whatever, you know, even though they have good intentions and dreams and aspirations, when all of your documentation or your business plan is just scattered all over the ocean, and they're wet and they're sinking and they're out of order, it's really hard to now grab all of those sheets of paper, now read it. They're wet, soggy, and some have floated off somewhere else. And so you may attract people in your small community, cousins, siblings, who might have addiction problems, who don't have strong boundaries, and might come to you because as a Capricorn rising sign, you might come off as very resilient, grounded as an earth sign, and no matter what hardships come to you, you keep pushing through. And so they want to latch onto you in some way, shape, or form in order to have that help me. You are more stable than me, even though you might not be stable at all. You have this energy about you, so they gravitate towards you, and you feel kind of pulled towards them as they are this emotional. You deeply feel what they're going through because you understand hardship and pain, and you may want to help. So that might be a thing for you. They say, yeah, Pisces. Your fifth house is most likely ruled by Taurus. So fifth house normally rules Leo. And the fifth house is our playhouse. It is our casual fun, casual dating, casual sex, casual drinking, one night stands, your self-expression, or how you express yourself, entertainment, how you entertain other people, how whatever you're surrounded with entertains you. It just wants to be happy, fun, and play. You want to just laugh at stupid things, and there's nothing serious, okay? And so Taurus being here in your fifth house, you may seek out pleasure, because Taurus loves everything that looks good, feels good, smells good. It's one of the horniest signs of the zodiac because they're pleasure seeking. This area of casual dating and relationships, you can be pleasure seeking in some way, shape, or form. You can also come off as kind of lazy, because the downside of Taurus can be sloth or laziness or gluttony. You may like to eat and drink a lot, or overdo it, and you might want to overdo doing the Humpty Dump in the secretive bedrooms with multiple people. But also Taurus is a fixed sign, so there could be potential stability there, but it's like pleasure seeking when it comes to when you want to go off on fun and play, relaxed time, when you're not being a workaholic or anything like that, then you know that might be something you're seeking out for fun and play. Okay. Your sixth house is most likely ruled by Gemini. So Gemini is a mutable air sign. You may find on your day-to-day that you're a busybody. You're always connecting, communicating with a variety of people, always changing it up. It's also not very grounded. So in your day-to-day work ethic or your health, you might find that you have a hard time grounding yourself on the day-to-day. You're very mutable, changeable, you get bored, you might be creative, very curious, you want to talk to, because the air sign, Gemini, I think of like the bumblebee. And so you're the bumblebee and there's so many flowers in the field, all kinds of flowers, and you're curious and maybe you want to help pollinate all the flowers, because you also have Taurus in the fifth house. And so you're like, oh, I'll help you out. I'll come pollinate your flower. And then you go pollinate another flower and another flower and say, oh, hey, what are you about? You're a pretty flower. What's your story? And then you go talk to another flower and then find out about that flower. And like, oh, I thought you two flowers were kind of the same, but you're actually not. Even though you look alike, you have totally different emotional personalities and likes and dislikes. That's very fascinating. Okay. So it's kind of like that. It's mutable air, not grounded, very curious on the day-to-day. So you like to learn also, or learn a lot, whether that's about people or about a certain genre topic. You know, you're always kind of, you're curious and wanting to learn. It's a communication sign. So in your day-to-day routine, you are somehow communicating, reading, writing, learning of some sort. Your 11th house is most likely ruled by Cancer. So this friendship house, which is normally ruled by 11th house, friendship, networking, technology, it is in the sign of Cancer for you as a, oh no, you are, I'm on the wrong thing. It is in Scorpio for you. I hope I did not. Oh no. Yeah. Yes, okay. I have little notes to organize. 5th in Taurus, 6th in Gemini, 7th in Cancer for you. I've been talking a little too long. 8th, yeah, I almost skipped. That's why I looked at the wrong thing. 8th, your 8th house is in Leo, because we already discussed 7th house in Cancer earlier. 8th house being in Leo, 8th house is normally ruled by Scorpio. So death, taxes, inheritances, other people's money, your joint resources, typically after you join with someone else in marriage. It doesn't have to be actual marriage. It's just joint resources. Tend to be Leo for you. So you might have a lot of pride with your in-laws, or what your spouse has, kind of what they have. And you have pride that this person picked you, and or you have a lot of pride with like what you can combine and join together, like you're a power couple or something. You might have a lot of heart. You know, Leo is also the heart or leadership. So you may want to direct or, you know, lead in the area of inheritances or joint finances, or you might be the one who wants to take the lead with how to build and grow that part of your relationship, everything that's combined. So you have pride with that, or what you came from, what your family's resources kind of gave you. You can also have this energy of, in the bedroom, you want to be adorned. You know, you want people to praise you, bow down to you. You're the king or the queen in the bedroom, and everyone needs to just swoon after you because you're just that desirable, you know, because Leo energy is everybody just looks at you and you don't even have to try, you know, they're just crawling for you. You are the king or queen. People just turn their heads towards you. In this area, you're just a natural leader. You're like, there's something about that person that's very just powerful. And so you have this presence of you are the lion or lioness in the bedroom, and you must be worshipped. So you might have that energy going on for you. Don't forget that it's a two-sided thing in relationships. It's not just about what you want and people should just come to you. You might have an emotionally unstable partner. In that case, your 7th house of Cancer. So just be mindful of that. Your 9th house is most likely ruled by Virgo. So 9th house energy is our higher belief systems, our higher education, philosophy, religion, publishing. So everything, kind of think, you know it doesn't have to be you, but in general, you know it so well that you can write a book on it. You're trying to kind of put something into words, or something that the little people of the land, or schools, or in medical school, for them to learn from your expertise. You know, that's just what the house represents. It's this kind of guru teacher. You look up towards this person or whatever their expertise is, because they just know, they comprehend it so well that they can dumb it down and explain it to people in a variety of ways, you know, or in a children's book. You know, like they can simplify it. So that's just the energy of 9th house. And Virgo, being in this 9th house, is very detail oriented, perfectionist, acts of service in this house. So if you have like a strict religion, you might be very detail oriented and perfectionist about the meticulous things that are written in the book. For example, or what do you need to do? You're going to meticulously follow things from the scripture or the publishing, whatever it is, the medical textbook, or, you know, whatever it is. You're going to be very detail oriented and precise about following the rules, almost in a OCD like perfectionist fashion. That can be for you. Of course, everyone is a little bit different, but it's just kind of the energy is like acts of service. What can you do, or what can you help in this area of teaching, philosophy, actual religion, or your belief systems, like maybe thinking a lot about your own, because belief system can be your own personal belief system. And Virgo is already day-to-day activities. So you can be always thinking, criticizing, thinking, perfecting, reanalyzing, being very analytical about your own belief systems. Like, is your own mental belief systems true or untrue? Is there something that could be better? Maybe self-worth, self-esteem. You believe something that is actually false and it doesn't match the reality of who you are or how other people perceive you. You know, it's this kind of thinking. It's a thinking sign in a kind of a spiritual-ish religion, philosophical house. So think about it like that for you and your scenario of what's going on. We already talked about a little bit of 10th house Libra. So your 11th house is most likely in Scorpio. So 11th house is most likely, it's not most likely. Oh, I've been talking too much. 11th house is naturally ruled by Aquarius, which is friendships, networking, and technology, or things futuristic. It's also like our rebellious house. And you most likely have Scorpio in this house, unless you have that duplication thing happening for you. So Scorpio, you tend to attract or be surrounded by people or friendships who have this kind of Scorpio energy, or who have power play, power and control. They want to dominate you, or you dominate them. It's like, who can be better? You know, it's like big power jumps, you know, of how to get ahead, how to make more money, how to have the best whatever, or deep dark secrets. You know, a lot of friends, deep dark secrets, possibly, because Scorpio is things that are hidden, things that are not seen. You might have a group of friends that you know what they have been through a lot, regardless of what they show to the outside. Like people who are in the military, people on the outside might kind of know on the surface level what they do, but nowhere near the reality of any potential hardship, trauma, pain, sacrifice, what they have to kind of deal with in order to do the job, for instance, you know. And so you may have friends that you share this kind of deep, dark secrets, trauma. You change and transform with your friendships and networks that you kind of are surrounded with in some way, or your friendships, you might share deep, dark psychological things that you can work with as a group, like a business partnership, or assets in some way to work together, because you also have that second house in Aquarius of kind of working together in a group in order to build wealth in some way, or build self-esteem, or they teach you something about yourself, you teach them. It's kind of like working together as a group for everyone to rise up. Everyone wants to get better, and being a little bit rebellious, you know, so something like that. And we already talked about the 12th house. So I believe I correctly got yours right without mixing it up. If I did mix it up, it was with Virgo rising, but I think I caught it early enough. So please forgive me for that. If you would like to book a personal birth chart reading, you can go down to the description box below, copy and paste it into a new browser, www.natashascreativewellness.com. You can go to the scheduling section and book the earliest time, as it's a pre-recorded reading, and I'll get that to you as soon as I can. And you will need your birth date, of course, your location that you were born in, city, state, country, and the time you were born, AM, PM. That's the most important to get the most accurate kind of reading and analysis of maybe what you're going through, and what your purpose is and such, if you don't want to explore all by yourself and get someone's perspective. So watch out for that. If you like to purchase any journals, yoga mats, posters, random stuff, I have a merchandise section on my website as well. These are just examples of whatever I have on there. It's just based on old I can't speak anymore. Old paintings and such. And this is me and fitness, 2015 figure bodybuilding. If you're interested in fitness or my fitness page, it's under my actual name, Natasha Greenwood, as a YouTube channel, and or fit_Tasha Flex if you're into motivational workouts and tips and stuff. So I separated that from this channel. So if you're into that, go check that out. Please like, share, and subscribe. Share this with someone that you know that might benefit from it, to help boost my channel, or help, you know, make someone else aware of something that maybe you can't explain very well, or sometimes not everyone wants to listen to you. Like some kids don't always want to listen to their own parents. So this is kind of a interesting way to do it. Yeah, so please like, share, and subscribe, and check out the other playlists that I have for other videos if you're interested, and I'll catch you next time. Okay, bye.